Game on! Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on again a 50-year-old from Cardiff, Wales. He has spent his entire career with those Devils, pretty much. He has been a player, a coach, the director of hockey operations. He's really good behind the mic if you can get it away from Todd Kelman. He will pretty much do whatever it takes for the team. He does enjoy whining and dining, some sponsors. And he does enjoy videoing pregame speeches, and he is a testimonial enthusiast like myself. Welcome back on, Neil Francis.
Hi, Wally. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. It's funny that you mentioned about being on the mic because I added another string to my bow last weekend. Todd was back in Calgary for the week, so I turned into the match announcer.
Is that
So
right? How'd that go?
yeah, yeah. It was probably the most nervous I've ever been for a hockey game. I'm not going to lie. Out of all the other roles that I've done there, but yeah, this was one that was outside my comfort zone. But we got through it. There's a great team there, and Todd had sent through some help notes and Katrina as well, and Dan the DJ. He kind of held my hand through it, and yeah, we got there.
Did
But I
you
had to do the
start it
I
out
did,
with his welcome
yeah,
to beautiful
ladies and
Cardiff Bay?
gentlemen, boys and girls.
Yeah, you
Yep,
did that?
full intro. Yep.
Okay. Speaking of match night speakers, is that what it's called?
Announcers.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Hendo with the Cardiff Canucks. Him and my music maker guy, Matt Leese, he is now going to be the match night speaker for the Cardiff Canucks.
Oh,
Small
what a
world, eh?
job he's gonna do. What a job he's gonna do.
Yeah, I see
Uh,
he's on TikTok doing devil stuff, and he even had me
yeah.
on as a special guest the one day. So I had him on here too, and we had a great time. But yeah, he's quite enthusiastic about hockey. I think he'll do a great job. He
Uh,
thinks hockey's fun.
I love his energy. Absolutely love his energy.
Yeah, I think he's going to do great.
Yeah. Another funny thing about doing the announcing was the week before that, I was back on the bench for the weekend because our new assistant coach was still waiting on his visa that got delayed. So I had to go in and run the D. And Finner in Manchester, Ryan Finnerty had watched that game, and then he watched the game last weekend, the one I announced at, and they did a flash of the bench, and he thought he saw me on the bench, and then he heard my voice announcing, so he phoned me up. He goes, "Were you announcing from the bench?" Which would be the ultimate, wouldn't it?
That would be impressive. But you are still the Swiss Army knife, eh? Just doing it all.
Yeah.
So
The Evan Mosey of off ice. He does it all on the ice, every position, and yeah, I'll chip in wherever I can off ice.
is it's interesting though, right? When you get new roles, how it can make you nervous for the game. When I my
Yeah.
first pregame speech for the Devils, when I was naked in the closet at the BBT, and I was just sitting there for like 30 minutes naked. I My nerves got the best of me. I was very nervous to do what I was planning
Funny
on
that.
doing, and I had never really given a pregame speech before for the boys, so I was really nervous that night.
And pass with flying colors as well, as you
Mm.
know.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Speaking of new roles, though, I'm an assistant coach this season for the under 11 girls rep team. And I will
Nice.
also be running the D for the first time in my coaching
Nice.
history so far. I've always
Yeah.
been running the forwards. So
Yeah.
I'm trying something new this season.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was only in the last whatever 5 years. I think the year when we had Jared Scaldi and I was assistant coach that I had run the D. D
There's
is
only
easy.
6 of them, though, eh? It can't be
Yeah.
that hard.
Yeah. The only thing that complicates is if you got to go to five and then you got to do like the 5D rotation, and that's about it. But yeah, D is easy.
But if you have
Yeah,
a
well,
5D rotation, wouldn't you just put your two best D out every other shift? Unless they're, I guess,
yeah,
opposite sides.
yeah, you can do that. But there is another way that they all slot in. But it's yeah, D is easy. Forwards is where you earn your money, and we're both forwards, so we'll stick up for the forwards, eh?
So we should, before we get into this season, I think we should talk about June because I've only had on Deco since. And what a time that was, eh? What a roster of hockey players.
Yeah, and honestly, it just when that group came together again, and it was obviously for Marty, who's a phenomenal person, and the goat to the Cardiff Devils, and of course he attracts the goat of teammates, and yeah, just having that crew in there and just seeing how much everybody enjoyed spending every second with each other was just something else, wasn't it?
It really was. And the guys I played with that I knew, it was great to see them. But then doing the podcast, it was amazing I guess, how I've been able to figure out who the guys are that I would really hit it off with over the years that I haven't been
Yeah.
there. And they're the guys I had on the podcast. And when he announced the roster, I had on nearly every single person in that game, except for his brothers
Yeah.
and Haley Bearwood. Haley.
Bailey Howard.
I had
Bailey
it
Howard.
backwards. Holy moly. It was pretty close though, wasn't I?
Yeah, yeah. Haley Bearwood. He shall be known as Haley Bearwood from now on.
Whoops, that was close, but he seems like a good young up and coming player too. I've now mucked it
Yeah,
up in a couple testimonials with him. He can
yeah, yeah,
boogie
yeah.
around.
Yeah, he's got a lot of talent, strong boy too.
But what a weekend.
Yeah,
And I'm guessing it
super.
went pretty well for Marty considering it was sold out for a game in June
Yeah,
with a bunch of
I know,
retired old farts.
I know, and that just says it all about Marty, and also the fans in Cardiff that if you do well by them, they'll support you to the max. And yeah, getting a sellout in June for a testimonial game is like I've never seen it before, and
No,
it was very much deserved.
I agree. So I guess we didn't fight this time. He beat the
No.
wheels off me in Matthew Myers' testimonial, so I wasn't barking up that tree again. But and then I throw one body check or a couple, but I hit pigs, and then all of a sudden Hendo comes in. He knows I have a dislocated finger, and
Yeah.
still forces me into a fight, and I still manhandled him with 9 fingers.
That's right. I forgot about your pre-game injury.
Yeah,
We
it was.
taped them up pretty good though, didn't we? We taped them
What
up
we
good.
did, yeah, and Urge helped me just like old times.
Yeah.
He got me all taped up, and yeah, the next morning after I'd heard it there, I went out when the boys were skating for fun the one morning, and Joey had all his nephews and stuff on the ice
Yeah.
and a family, and I stick handled around. That was okay, but shooting wasn't an option. It really wasn't an option. But then, guess who ties the game up to make it 8-8 in the
Exactly.
number 88's testimonial? Just
Yeah.
mucking it up in front of the net, knocked Wilsey's stick out of his hands and then buried on him.
Yeah.
It was like a
Pushing yourself
storybook
through
ending.
in the moments that
I can still
matter.
play hurt, Franny.
That's it. Do you know what I think? You mentioned Joey's nephews and his brothers, like all, like his family is phenomenal people, as you can guess they would be. But my favorite moment of the whole testimonial were having his nephews like buzzing around the locker room, like they were feeling like hockey players. And then Abby, the massage therapist, got like the young one who's just like a little skinny kid just to jump up on the massage bed and gave him the full works down, and he
Full
just
rub down.
felt like all rubbed down, just felt like an athlete having the time of his life.
It was pretty neat because, yeah, his small world was when my under 13 Canucks there that were getting those red hats this last season, back-to-back years, Neil, if you didn't know.
Yeah,
But we played Joey's nephew in the round robin, and then we had also played him earlier in the year in the International Silver Stick, so they were a squad too. We beat them by 1, I think, in the round robin, and then we won our semifinal, and the other semifinals going on. And his nephew's in the other semifinal. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't need this in my life. I don't
yeah,
need to play Joey Martin's nephew in the finals for all Ontario, because then, it. I don't need that. I don't want
it
to play them
complicates
in the final.
things.
It
Yeah,
does. And they ended up losing that game 1-0. So I didn't have to play them in the finals. because we had met and we had taken a couple fun selfies throughout the season when I saw them, because he was wearing number 88 and his last name was Martin from Thorold.
Yep.
So the first day I saw that, I'm like, who's this kid? And anyways, didn't have to play them, but we got revenge for the Martins and did beat that team, came back in the third and won 2-1 to win all Ontario's. But it was nice to see that kid loving hockey with all the boys, because he's a good player, and they were a great team. And sorry that we won, you know.
Sorry, not sorry.
But JJ, Joey's brother, I played him in the Sutherland Cup finals when I was with Elmira in my hometown, and beat him too. Sorry, JJ, but he can play, eh? Did you see that shootout
Yeah,
move he made?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was like
He's a really good
Datsuk.
player. Yeah, those Martin jeans, they're good. They are
You know,
good.
sometimes those guys that you know, didn't get their full shares like me, they get to those testimonials, they want to prove they still got it. I
Yeah.
was proving I still don't got it.
That's proven I never had it.
Hmm.
Missed a chance early on. The
You were
opening
buzzing
goal.
around, you were getting chances.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Didn't
Uh,
finish them.
but it's pretty neat in Cardiff that so many guys played 10 years there. There must be something people like about playing there. Must be the guys, the city, the organization, or something, because seems Cardiff has a testimonial every season.
I know, and I think is it Bounsies this year or
Yeah,
last year?
it
Something.
sure
No,
is.
this year, yeah,
Yeah, come
yeah.
on,
So it,
keep up, Swiss Army knife. Batchy's not even with you anymore. We already had that one.
no Bouncy. Yeah, it's his, and yeah, it's great that we've kept those guys. As good as the city and organization, everything is. Those are special guys as well. To go 10 years on one team is an achievement, and to win a lot of trophies along the way as well. And it's nice just for them to get that reward, at the back end of their careers too.
Yeah, and I guess the people that don't know, if they're listening, like North America, a testimonial you receive after 10 years for service to the club, and then like everything raised, all the money from merchandise, jersey raffles. I don't know about the bar sales if Todd's trying to get in on that, but like all the money, the ticket sales go to the player, and that it would feel great, right? Because a lot of us in those leagues, we're not making enough money to retire or do anything. We got to get to work when hockey's over, and for Joey and those guys to get that, it must help them a lot when they do have to join the real world, and well deserved for loyalty, you know?
Yeah, nice little boost to get you on your feet. Because like you say, nobody's getting rich playing, outside the NHL and KHL really. So it's nice for those guys that have put the work in, that have done well by the club to get rewarded and have a nice little boost.
So, how many years have you been with the Devils?
Um, well, with the Devils, 33, I think now, and
Have you had a
um,
testimonial?
I have not. No, I
Okay, just bringing it up for my own personal curiosity, but if anybody's listening to us, you know,
haven't.
I think one's deserved.
Yeah, I think maybe waiting for 50th year or something.
And speaking of the Cardiff Canucks, because Hendo was kind enough to put my logo on every jersey last season, free of cost. And I had to protect him for years of professional
Yeah,
hockey. Back when there was enforcers, I had to protect him. And just, you know, for him doing that, saying thank you for protecting him. I'd like to return the favor, and I'm having a Two Ales and Hockey Tales Andrew Lord 71 jersey. I'm raffling that off, and I'm going to send the money to the Cardiff Canucks to do whatever they gosh darn please with. And you know, that's hockey. So if anybody wants it, it'll be at that raffle.com, and it's a Lord 71 Two Ales jersey, and that money's going to help support Hendo get his Cardiff Canucks going, because they had a pretty good first season, eh?
yeah, they did. It's an exciting project there. I know the kids involved. I spoke to a few of them, and they are absolutely loving it, getting all the additional ice time and coaching and stuff. And there's something really special, isn't it, when you start out on a project and being on that first team, like you're on the first team of the new era. It's something special. So I think those guys are sort of feeling it on the Canucks that they had a time last year and they're looking to build on it now. So good luck to them.
Well, and I guess, yeah, the first year is where, a culture can be built and I guess how things work. And that first year with the Devils, that was a magical season. I mean, a bunch of ragtag boys, no expectations at the start of the season, player coach that's now in the AHL. But like the way we turned her on there, we were doing good in the Challenge Cup the whole time, but the league games, we weren't doing that well until like November. We were in like eighth or something. And then all of a sudden we just couldn't stop winning.
Just took off. But yeah, what about that coach,
I know.
Andrew Lord, now in Ontario, right in the American League? It's no, it's well deserved for him. We all know how hard he works and what he puts into it, and it's nice to see now that he's been given the recognition at a higher level, and everybody is behind him to do his best there, and hopefully one day make the big show.
It'd be pretty neat seeing him be a coach in the NHL. And he does work harder than any coach I saw. He does care about each player a ton. Even if it's hard love, he wouldn't even let me eat a bagel.
Yeah, early morning gym sessions, tough love. Eh?
It was tough love, but yeah, he got me too fast. Then I tried to split the D for the first time in my career, and there goes my knee again. Shoot.
Yeah,
Then I became the pregame speaker.
yeah, and the rest is history.
So now let's talk about the new season. We have everybody,
Yes.
that's what they want to talk about. It's probably why hardly anybody listens to me anymore, is because everybody wants to listen to the new players and I don't really know them that well. Let's start with the coach. Seems like a great guy. Always had good teams when I played against him. And he just won in Denmark, I think. And well, winning's winning all over the place. And he would have a nice gold helmet like myself back there.
Yeah, he does have a gold helmet, and yeah, I've seen the photos to prove it. But yeah, that's an incredible achievement because he took the team that was last place or last but one place, and within 4 years won them their first ever championship.
And
And
what
they're a
was
low
that?
budget.
The Odense Bulldogs?
It was, yeah, Odense.
I know that
So
little barn.
yeah, and they're a lower budget team, and he progressed year on year. He kind of molded them into playing the way that he knew he could get success. And 4 years to go from bottom to top and first championship is incredible. And what an achievement. And yeah, it's been really really good to work with him and get to know him because I didn't know him at all. I obviously being a rival and you have a kind of perception of people when you are that rival. But very quickly got to know him because no sooner had he won the championship, he was signed, and we're on to the recruitment for this year. And we'd already started speaking to a few players, and um, I had such a good time with him recruiting the team. We spoke for probably 2 hours a day, um, and yeah, it was good to get it finally done. It was a long, long summer, a long process, but from day one we agreed on what the priorities were on that recruitment, and he knew what the Cardiff Devils were all about because he had coached against us and found it difficult against us, even when he had success. We were the team that pushed his teams all the way. And it was quite easy to agree really on what we needed to target to try and get success back here.
Well, speaking of the Danish league, because he figured out how to win after 4 years of low budget team is, I'm guessing, I have no idea, but playing in that league, they don't like to muck it up, like muck it up. And if I was guessing, he probably got a lot of workhorses that mucked her up and kind of bullied the other teams because hate to say it, but some of those little Danish boys could be pushed around.
Yeah, and he did. He said he had a good group of Danes that were quite unique in terms of what they would go out and do, and what they were willing to do for the team, and he sort of built around that and then added in the pieces with the imports. And we're fortunate to bring over one of them this year that was his, the linchpin in that team, Brandon Esters, that ended up as league MVP, like the team top scorer, as a D-man, and absolutely ripped it in the playoffs, and we brought him in here. So excited to see him this year, in a Devils uniform.
And that's exciting to get the Danish league MVP to leave and come to Cardiff. He must like playing for him, and also it says a lot about where the UK league's got to now, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he had teams sniffing from other leagues, because when Tomo was saying, when you're in Denmark, it's quite easy, geographically, for other teams from Germany, from Norway, from Finland to come and see those players in the flesh, rather than
Why
just
wasn't
see,
anybody coming to watch me play, Freddie?
they were Cardiff Devils. We were scouting you.
I finished second in that league in scoring. We won the championship, and I had nothing. And it was like July when I wrote to Todd.
It turned out all right. So
It's the bad body, I guess, eh? So I guess you're still into the recruiting part of things too, eh? So are you just looking for guys making calls to references and then lining up the cards for him to make the calls to the players that are on the radar, or how does that work?
yeah, we work together on it, and both using our individual connections to reach out and get and get players. And sometimes it was, we'd identified the position and the kind of player we wanted, and reached out directly to the player, because it sort of identified a handful of players that would fit that mold. And sometimes it was like that. More and more it's through agents. And the thing is, like, everybody gets the same list from the same agent. So we try to be, we try to go after some different players, just to to mix it up a little bit. And the key thing, I think, from that very first conversation with Tomo, that we both agreed on quickly, is, you mentioned earlier about culture, and that was what we needed to get back, the culture of the Cardiff Devils, um, and get back being hard to play against, being a team that you dread to play against. Over
Mm-hmm.
the last few years, we've had phenomenally talented teams, and we've had some bad luck with injuries and all that kind of stuff. But what I felt is that we didn't quite have enough of that kind of blue collar, drag yourself over the line to get the job done, no matter what the circumstances are, whether you're five guys down, six guys down. I think we were after players with a bit more character, I guess,
Yeah.
that are going to get it done, like all successful teams have. And the early signs are really good. All the guys came in great shape, and straight away have bonded as a group. But I mean, I'm sure every coach is saying that at this time of the year. But
You bring
we
in
did our
new
whole.
boys though to that core. It shouldn't take that long because then there's already a core in place that knows how to do it. And you bring in the new boys, and it shouldn't take that long to fall in line to Joey Martin and Richie and Bouncy and all the boys, right?
Yeah, you'd think, but it does. I mean, we know that character-wise, players are different these days, and what we've tried to get is probably a few more older school players, and that's not. I mean, there's some tough guys on that team. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't mean that we're going to go around just trying to beat everybody up, because you can't do that these days. You just get too many penalties and DOPs coming after you. But that doesn't mean that you can't play in an aggressive way,
In your
um,
face.
in your face. I mean, we look at the Stanley Cup champs, how they play, and in the style that they play. They just have everybody going, everybody on the same page, and they are just like a machine that come night after night after night. And I think that is probably what we're trying to model our team on, especially with that 54 game playoff series that we have, our league championship. Um,
That's what I
Talent will
was gonna
take.
say is like playoff hockey's different than regular season hockey in
Yeah,
every other league. At
yeah,
least, the second league in Germany where I would be like the regular season's like once you're in your playoff spots, it's like, there are guys worrying
yeah,
about their points and,
yeah.
wins and losses, but playoffs were a different animal. And
Yeah,
in the UK, every game was the playoffs. And playoff hockey is a different style. And that year in 2014-15, playing Sheffield and Braehead or Glasgow, whatever you want to call them, those teams in Belfast, like those were playoff hockey games all season long.
yeah, it is. And that's why we tried to get more players with that sort of mentality. Um, so you're not just relying on one or two players to get the team going every night. If you've got it spread across six, seven, eight, nine players, um, then that rubs off, and there's always people going. And that, that's the design of this team, is to have that willingness to play the right way every single night, and get your teammates going, and really push the team, and be not very nice to play against, and be pretty relentless.
I guess, yeah, that is Cardiff Devils hockey. The thing that intrigues me, though, is now that you guys are on the big ice, it makes you think you want to go with the high end talent and maybe not the same grit because of all that ice out there. But when it
Yeah.
comes down to it, you need those guys that get in the dirty areas, no matter how big the ice is, and you need the guys that stand in front of the net, you know?
Yeah, you do. But that was the other criteria on these players. We wanted players that, played the right way, that, finished their hits, that worked hard, but they all have to be able to play. And hopefully we've done that. We've identified players that have that grittiness to them, but in their own right also can play the game, all have to be able to skate really well. You mentioned net front. It makes such a difference when you have a good net front guy, whether it's Matthew Myers, we've had Lane Almer doing it in the short spell he was here. Stefan Fournier transformed our team. We went from the worst power play to the best power play, and then when he left, it was back to the worst power play again. And this year we got a guy, Cedric Lacroix, who is, I mean, you look at his highlight reel, a lot of his goals are net front tips. He just owns that position, takes pride in it, and we've already seen in preseason games when he's in front of the net, he's not just there taking up a space. He's there trying to take the goalie's eyes away, trying to get his stick into a position that the D-man can shoot for it. He's got good hand eye. I was watching him training the other day, and he's just doing it every shift. He kind of really takes pride in that role, and I think that's a huge asset to have.
Well, it changes the power play, there's no doubt. I remember that year in Cardiff, nobody was really standing in front of the net on the power play until we put Matthew Myers there on the second unit. That was with me and Hotham, Lordo at the first unit, but the second unit, we didn't have anybody willing and wanting to really do it until Matthew Myers is like, I'll stand there. And like,
Yep.
he loves it and he embraces it and takes pride in it. And it changed the whole power play, and it changed my whole season having him on my line. And then I remember the next season, we actually got rid of him. And then I didn't play for very long that season, but I did realize that my power play had nobody that wanted to stand in front of the goalie again. And it made me
Yeah.
upset, because then why are you going to shoot from the perimeter if there's nobody taking away his eyes? Because then it's just a
Yeah.
wasted shot.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly. And, hopefully with Lacroix doing that, we've got someone that's going to give us that kind of added dimension on the power play that we probably missed a little bit last year.
Um, I guess I haven't really paid attention because I don't really know the guys anymore. Maybe I'm aging out of this podcast world, but I saw that you had a guy beat up a guy from the other team, that Yamarenko or something.
Yaremko, yeah, Nolan
There you are.
Yaremko, and yeah, I mean he's another example of somebody that is tough, big, strong boy. But first and foremost, he's a player. He's coming off a really bad year in Germany where his points were low, and that probably cost him going to higher leagues. And when I spoke to him, this stood out to me. I was asking him about the year he just had, and he was on a team where you mentioned those guys in Europe that are just after their points.
Oh yeah.
And he said every time, they were in their end, he'd have two of his wingers just take off out the zone, looking for stretch passes to get their points. And as a result, he said he was playing like a third D man the whole time he was there. And when the coach was kind of asking him about his production being a bit low, he said, well, my wingers are cheating all the time, and that's how they get in their points, and I'm not. And they said, well, maybe you need to cheat a bit more. And the sentence he gave me, which kind of reaffirmed this is the guy that we want, you turn around to that coach and said, sorry, that's not in my DNA. I'm not going to play that way. He stayed true to himself and probably cost himself a job in a higher league, because there's guys that he played junior with and university with that are now playing in Finland. Another guy's playing in the KHL, and he was on par with them for points. But they had the kind of luck of the draw in terms of moving up, and him staying true to the way that he feels the game should be played probably cost him a bigger move.
Europe, that is totally a thing. When I was in Germany, you would play teams that, well, I mean, there were guys, I guess you not to point out a part of the world, but there was some imports on, say some teams would get all Eastern European imports. They wouldn't get any North Americans. And those guys wanted points. Like the top scorer in the league my first year in Germany, watching him play made me sick. He would literally just let his D-man go by him. He didn't care if they got scored on. But he scored like 30 more points than anybody in the league because he didn't give a shit about defense, but his team sucked. So when we won it in Bietigheim, we had every import, every German playing defense first, nobody caring about goals and assists, and we won the championship. And then when your team starts struggling in Germany and guys realize they blow up teams that stink, people start worrying about themselves and their goals and assists, and they start cheating more. And then your team is never going to get better. And only the couple top scorers on that team will still be playing, and the Germans that are staples. But it's it's sad when you see it change, especially when you're one of the leaders on the team, because it happened in Bietigheim. When we stunk, because we had no budget and we had a lot of young kids that didn't get some of it. Like, it's really hard when you went from one culture and everybody playing the right way, and then you're on the team seeing it change in front of your eyes. It was not fun at all. But when you can get those European teams to play the right way, it's amazing what teams can do. But the UK, I never saw that. I never saw teams where, well, they're like really like selfish guys trying to cheat on the offense. It definitely wasn't in UK hockey like it is in Europe. Sorry, it's a little early. Okay.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean?
that there are those guys, and then usually are on the teams that finish in the lower end of the table,
That have
and
the
then
high
every year
points.
they have the high points, and every year people are like, oh, Devil should sign this guy, that guy. But you can do it if you're on a lower end team, because, like you say, you're not paying any attention to defense. But if you want to win championships, you can't really have those guys, because you need everyone to buy in the right way, and especially with the way that Tomo plays, he relies on everybody, playing their big part in team defense and playing the right way, and you get your points. Somebody will get points because you'll be winning games. So it's just a different way of getting it, and a more honest way of getting it. And what we hope is that we've put together a really honest group of hockey players that will complement the existing ones there, the guys that you mentioned earlier. But time will tell. Time will tell.
Um, well, you know what? I'm going to bring it up again. My under 13 Canucks are all Ontario champions, and a few of the boys was my third year coaching them. My Colby, my son, but Brady Collins was my captain, and I thought the best player in the league. And then the D-man little humps, Andrew. I've been with them for 3 years, and seeing the way they played hockey when the game would be on the line, they would do whatever it took to find a way to win. But it was always defense first. There was no turnovers. We dumped the puck. We got pucks out. They'd block shots. They were always on the defensive side first. And I find when your top players play hockey the right way, everybody's got to get in line. But the way these kids came together as a team, come the end of the year, I had to get fancy with coaching the forwards, because I had two of the best players in Ontario, I thought. And so I went with two centers, and I had three lines, but I wanted to have them out there, one of them at all times. So then I had to talk to the left wingers and be like, so there's going to be four of you. And there's going to be three right wingers. There's going to be two center. And I'm like, but this left winger is going to go with this right winger every time. And then the other three are just going to rotate in. But when this guy goes, he's always with that right winger because they had chemistry. And then when I explained it to them at the practice, I'm like, we're going to go to this when we need it. And then we did in the finals, then all the way through the Ontario tournament. The way those left wingers bought in to the system and how it's going to work, if they don't buy in and they start whining that they only go every fourth shift instead of every third shift, it's not going to work. And you see it in professional hockey teams. And the way those kids bought in and were teammates first and doing what was best for the team and what I asked of them, it made me so proud seeing them win that trophy.
Yeah, exactly. And they work out that from an early age. That's why guys that have won go on and win again, because they see what it takes. These little things that if you haven't won a championship, you don't see, you don't appreciate, and that's why it's always good to get guys on your team that have won before, and especially from a young age. So all those guys that you mentioned, they're now in the Cardiff Devils black box.
Right. There you go. And so when you bring in the new guys, probably Steve and Todd and Tomo all have this guy they're all juiced up about that joined the team. What guy that you recruited really gets your juices flowing?
Um, Good question. Good question. I mean,
Thank you.
Tomo's,
I've been
yeah,
practicing. This is like almost episode 500.
yeah. um, well, there's a guy on the team that Steve was juiced about, because he came from the Denver program, Connor Capone. So Steve's son Carter obviously played in Denver and was captain last year and has just signed an NHL deal with the Flames. And but one of his teammates who now holds the appearance record for University of Denver Pioneers is Connor Capone, and he did that as a fourth line center, penalty kill specialist, face-off specialist. You watch his shifts and his points and stuff like that, you'll see he's out in the last minute, 45 seconds of a game, taking a big draw in his own end, winning it, and then getting an empty net goal. And he's specialized in that
He
position,
had a role.
as well as we've got Riley Brandt that we've had here for 4 years, that is 5'8", stocky guy that blows people up. Connor Capone does
Fans
the same.
love him.
Yeah, and Connor Capone does what Riley Brandt does as well. So his first game,
So are those
we
two on
played.
the same line, just running around?
Well, we haven't had our lines in yet, our full lines, because um, there's one. The last guy to sign hadn't had his visa through. Sanford's coming back off surgery, so he hasn't been in the lineup yet. And Riley was actually best man at a wedding that he'd already kind of committed to. We let him go back to Canada and miss the first weekend
That's
for that.
nice of you though, because that means a lot to him and it's obviously important to the guy getting married, and it would be to Riley. So I
Yeah,
appreciate when teams do that because the season hasn't started yet, and that guy, he's gonna be ready to
yeah,
go.
yeah. And he came in for 4 days of camp, went out for missed one day of practice, missed the games on the weekend, and he was back by the end of the game on the Sunday night. So he didn't miss too much at all. But so we haven't had really an opportunity to see Capone and Brandt on the same line. But in Capone's first game, I think he made 8 hits, and they were all blowing people up. So he became a fan favorite really quickly. Yaremko that you mentioned, he's a guy that I've followed for a few years, and always wanted to have him here. And I just love the way that he plays. That story I told about. He plays an honest game, but he is really tough and he is strong, but he's smart too, and he works hard and he does all those things. So
Sounds
yeah,
like a Florida
excited to see
Panther.
him. Yeah, 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 and yeah, like I say, that's the kind of mold that we're going for, to get as many of those characters in as possible. This weekend we should see Tyson Helgeson in the lineup, who's our 6'3" D man that locks things up back there, and make sure other teams are honest. So it'd be nice to get him in the lineup, especially with it being Sheffield back to back. But yeah, all the guys we've signed are there for a purpose, and I'm excited that there's something that excites me about every single one of them.
No, that's good. The start of a season's always exciting.
Yeah.
But what was exciting for me, which I'm still unsure if I can make it all happen. I've been invited to a few things, but my line mate in Germany, PJ Fenton, invited me to his Stanley Cup party. He's a scout for the Florida Panthers, and he's having a Stanley Cup party, and he invited me to come, and he wants me there. Um, Sounds fun. I've never won the Stanley Cup.
You should probably go to that one then.
Yeah,
Not many people get to do that.
I know, I know. It's like 5 hours away on a Thursday or
Yeah.
Friday or something. Thursday, I think.
Well,
But yeah,
if there's
I
anything worth traveling for, it's that. Eh?
I know. Uh, but testimonials are fun too.
Yeah.
They can take away a few vacation days throughout the year. And in February, I'm going back to Landshut, Germany to muck it up.
Nice.
Yeah, charity game. Apparently, there's going to be like 5,500 fans there. So,
Well,
you know what? I did something crazy, Franny, the other day. I exercised.
ooh, steady. You know how that can turn out. It's dangerous,
I
that
know, I
exercise.
know, especially when you haven't done it for so long. My heart was a thumping. But
Yeah,
they're like paying for my flight and everything, and there's gonna be all these fans, and I know how I felt at Joey's game. I know how I
yeah.
skated, and it wasn't well. Hotham
But
caught me from behind and made me turn the puck over at the
mm,
blue line like 3 times.
yeah, that's not a good yardstick, is it?
No, it's not. It's when you know you got to make changes,
Yeah, but you did pop up the big goal, so
right? Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. I
you
needed that.
contribute in different ways.
But yeah, when you were talking about Denver, I don't know if you knew my Western Michigan Broncos are national champions, and
Yes.
Denver was their big games throughout the year, and I watched a few of them on TV. And it's a small world. I'd be watching, and you got Steve's son that's out there taking the big draws and is the captain and playing hockey the right way all over the ice. And I remember when his son came and skated with us. It was right after I hurt my knee in Cardiff, and then to see what that kid did and is still doing with his hockey career.
Yeah.
But then they would show the crowd, and there's Steve looping it up with the other fans. And then we started texting back and forth, and Denver was up 3-0 in that game. And he says it's like taking candy from a baby. And then Western Michigan came back and won in overtime. And then Steve
Ooh,
got a lot quieter.
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It was yeah, I mean, Denver's got an amazing program. So for Western Michigan to beat them, I think they beat them in the semi, didn't they? They beat Denver in the
And
semi,
then they in their
and
league
then they went on.
championship game,
Yeah,
they played each other too. So I watched both of those, and
yeah,
great hockey, man.
yeah,
They're very good, and so now they're getting paid to play NCAA. I know how much
yeah,
fun I had just getting a scholarship. I couldn't imagine getting paid and a scholarship.
yeah.
The OHL is going to be
That
screwed. All those junior leagues in Canada, they don't know what's coming because
yeah.
when the NCAA can pay guys and give scholarships, and then you know what it's like to go to school at those places, I tell you, Western Michigan is a fun place to be.
Yeah, it's definitely going to change the landscape of junior hockey, isn't it?
It sure is. So as you do everything for the Devils, don't you like do the TV thing too, where you're like the color guy?
Yeah, so
Do you
that's a
still
lot
do
of fun
that?
too. So yeah,
Man,
Devils
you do it
TV.
all, eh?
So we got a really good crew there. That's a lot of fun to do. It's like being a TV broadcaster. So we've got two commentators, Gaza and Dan. Um, Brilliant guys, very good at what they do. If they're both available, then I'll do the period break analysis and some pre-game stuff. But if one of those, because
But
they've
you're
got other
not
stuff
giving
going
out
on.
too much info, eh? You're not a coach. You're just an analyzer.
Well, yeah, I'm an analyzer. Yeah, I'll analyze what I see out there without sort of giving away
Too many
any
X's and O's of
any
what
trade
you might.
secrets. But I never understood X's and O's anyway, so it's not hard for me to keep that under my hat. But if one of those guys is away, then they'll do the play by play, and then I'll do the color commentary on there. So again, that's a lot of fun. You know, like I say, it's a great team from Ado, who is the director there, to all the guys on the cameras and the replay desk, and we're all mic'd up so that we can kind of talk to each other through it as well. And it's a lot of fun to do. I enjoy doing that.
One thing I haven't brought up from going back, I guess, is how nice the locker room is now. A
Yeah, it's
little
nice, isn't it?
different
Having
than
that.
the big blue tent, eh?
Yeah, yeah, different than getting ice baths in wheelie bins. Uh,
Yeah, in garbage cans, and Lord would
yeah,
force me in there against my will. And
yeah,
then you'd want to clean yourself off after, and the shower would be ankle deep.
yeah, with mushrooms growing in it. But yeah, now since we expanded the locker room into what was the away dressing room and have that player lounge area, it's nice because it just
Gives
when we
guys a
had it
reason to
before,
stay around the rink longer, and that's
yeah,
important.
yeah, exactly. You got the big TV on there, so there's always sport playing on that, and and guys just sort of hanging out, and that's how you get close, isn't it? And there's only so much of that you can do when it's sitting in your stall, but having that kind of communal area in the player lounge, it's been a nice addition.
Well, even the old guys that don't play for you anymore enjoy it too, because after our busy weekend and loud places that at my age hurt my head and you can't even talk, which is what we want to do. That's why we hide in the bathroom and talk hockey.
Yeah.
But it was Jards and Boston Levi that came up with the idea of let's not go out tonight. Let's all go to the locker room. And then Boston's like, I'll have concert and play music for everybody. And there was like 10 of us sitting around in the locker room hanging out in that lounge area and got a Boston Levi concert. It was pretty special night.
Yeah, how much better is that than going out to just like you say, a place
So
where you
much
can't
better.
even hear yourself speak? And yeah, that WhatsApp group has been pretty active still from Marty's testimonial. All the videos are coming through of Mike McNamee playing on his guitar in the dressing room and everything, and everyone just kind of strolling around, just taking it all in, and he was just happy to play a private concert.
It was pretty neat. And like what I found neat too was, well, you guys all know how I feel about the Devils and how I was treated there. And seeing how Brian Parker's still doing it and the owners, him flying over for Marty's game. But
Yeah,
then on that, what was it, the Sunday when we all went out to eat and he was buying everybody drinks. And then he came back to the locker room with the fellas. And when the owner's hanging out with the boys, and he is one of the boys,
yeah.
it's pretty special. You don't see that much in hockey.
No, definitely. And that's like we've talked about it before how lucky we are with the ownership group, but they are part of the team. They've got the same mentality as all the guys and they just fit in so well. And they are as passionate about it as we all are. So having that is just such a blessing.
I totally agree, and it was great to see because I still remember heading to that Challenge Cup game when we we were getting ready for the big game and getting sent pictures and videos from the fan bus that were outrageous. Those
Yeah,
fan buses are outrageous, though. I was on a few of them.
yeah, you were. Yeah, that was your transport to away games for a while.
Yeah, if I had to surprise the guys, if it was a big game, I'd have to be there.
Yeah, yeah. Either that or in the back of a van somewhere.
So I didn't write anything down. I'm trying to think if I have any more questions about this upcoming season or anything. You guys are in the Continental Cup again or anything?
No, no, not in the Continental Cup. So we actually have for the first year in a while not got any European competition, which
So you could
um
focus on
we
the league more.
yeah, I mean we love being in those competitions, so we will miss it, but it does have its upside as well in terms of managing the schedule and managing um the injuries and stuff because it does take its toll. But like I said, we enjoy those things, and we won Continental Cup last year, so that was amazing to be in that and win it. So we'll miss it, but it's got its upside as well.
Speaking of coaching, because I really enjoy it, but Matthew Myers is a head coach now in Romania. Sounds like they had an interesting day yesterday, eh?
Yeah, not a great start, is it, for the season? Well, for both them and Fife. So he's in Brasov. And yeah, I guess, were traveling to Fife and got to the airport and the flight was cancelled. So they had to
Sat
get a
on the
bus.
airplane for like an hour and a half, and then it
Yeah.
got canceled.
Then it got cancelled. And then they had to get a bus somewhere else to another airport to get
I
another
think they went
flight.
to Istanbul or something.
Istanbul in Turkey. Yeah. Or maybe I think they got a flight from Romania to Turkey only to sleep in the airport and then find out the next flight was cancelled. So eventually they ran out of time, and
They had to cancel both games this weekend, and now Fife doesn't have an exhibition game. And Mizey's going to play Boom Boom, Max Beerbreyer, who what's he like the GM there now?
he's the president,
The
of Fife,
president.
the president of Fife. Yeah,
Um, huh. Well, Small World was the guy that like runs the Israeli Hockey League wrote to me and said, FYI, like because I've had the coach and the captain of Team Israel on, and we've been #1 in Israel before, no big deal. But that
yeah,
guy has been in touch with me since I've done that, and he was one of the guys that bought into Fife, and the Israeli background maybe is how they got Max involved, and he's the president, of a pro hockey team. Man, the things guys do.
yeah. It's amazing how people stay in the game in different ways. And yeah, I mean, I'm pleased for Max. You know, he's a great guy. He's a good hockey guy, and now gets to oversee a Fife new era. So and yeah, I mean, a small connection was that in one of the interviews, Jamie Russell, the new coach of Fife, mentions, how did the move come about? And it was, we played against his team. He was with an Italian team that played against us in Zelina in the semi-finals of the Continental Cup. And, really classy of him. After the game, he came across to speak to me and Pete Russell about, congratulate on the win and all that kind of stuff. And we got talking, and it turns out that he was a coach um, in, I think Ferris State. And he was a coach of Phil Ozair, who was a Devils goalie for 3 years and is a good friend of mine. So I happened to message Phil and said, "Hey, I'm with your old coach, Jamie Russell. Oh yeah, he's the guy that recruited me. I owe a lot to him." We got talking, and then Jamie and I kind of spoke in the hotel that night and exchanged numbers, and had been messaging through the year, and he congratulated us when we won it, and blah blah blah. And he was then interested to see. He was impressed with the hockey in our league and wanted to know if there was any openings in the UK. And anyway, cut a long story short, there he is in Fife as the head coach of the new era.
Well, that's cool, and I'm sure the people fans probably wonder how you guys set up your exhibition games. It's got to be Mizey talking to Max and saying, "Hey, let's play an exhibition weekend." Didn't last season you play Deuce's team from Denmark?
Yeah, they were back in. I think they played Glasgow this year, but yeah, we had Deuce coming over, so that was nice. Another great guy.
Oh yeah.
Enjoyed spending time with him at Marty's as well. But yeah, he came over, and this year we've just had Concordia University. We
I want to
played them
talk
on the
about
week.
that.
We played them on the weekend, and their goalie coach is Jim Coursey of the Coursey Stat. The one
The
when
thing
you're on
everybody
the
uses, the analytics or
yeah,
whatever.
the analytics, yep. And he is through goalieing, he has a connection with Ewan King, who's our goalie coach, and I think they got talking and were looking to come over. So that came about sort of that way. So yeah,
So a
here's a small one.
curious question, because I'm guessing this is saying a lot for Canadian University, but they beat you? A Canadian University beat the Cardiff Devils?
They did, yeah. And yeah, I mean,
It's
you never
exhibition.
want to,
It's
it's
exhibition.
exhibition,
Yeah.
but you never want to lose. You never want to lose at home. It was a really good workout for us. I mean, Paul Thompson took a little bit of flack in his post game by saying that he had fatigued the guys, and he felt that they were not as sharp. And then it was like, well, what do you mean? It's only the third game of the season. You only had one game that weekend. But what the context of it is, we had skated 7 days in a row, including a hard skate on the Saturday. So even though we didn't play a game on the Saturday, the guys got bagged because we wanted them in the game tired, because that's kind of where you have to be later in the season and stuff. And yeah, we just weren't as sharp putting our chances away. I mean, we still outshot them 55-13 or something like that. And
Mm.
their goalie was phenomenal. I mean, I think he had some call ups to the American League the previous year. He had already kind of been in the pro, and he's just gone back to university now with them, and he's 6'6" and really athletic, and he had a great game. But like I said before, you've got to find ways to win, and we didn't on the night. And what it gives us, and Tomo has taken the team through the video from that game because it brought out so many important clips of just tiny little adjustments that you can make to fight your way to make sure you turn those 55 shots into goals, regardless of how good the goalie is in the net.
Well, and I can understand how he's saying, like, he obviously can self-reflect, and if he's saying, well, maybe I made a mistake, I appreciate that in a coach. But I also understand where he's coming from because, man, you would get to Europe, training camp was insane in Germany. And then when you get to the UK, there isn't that much time for a true training camp and do all the things teams like to do to guys. So I understand pushing guys a lot in that first week leading up to an exhibition game, because you're trying to get where you need to be in the regular season, where then you do take a casual Saturday before a Sunday game, and the guys are fit enough that you can have those off days, right?
Yeah, no, exactly that. And that was the whole kind of engineering behind it was to fatigue the guys and get them used to
Doesn't sound
playing
fun for
tired.
the guys.
It doesn't. And, his training sessions have been very hard, similar to what you would have experienced in Europe. He's gone in with that and he's put like the pace is extremely hard. There was no kind of gently breaking them into it. It was from day one, it's go, go, go with gym sessions in the morning, followed by on ice practice. Yeah, we got a new S&C coach who's been great, and guys have been. I say they've enjoyed it. He's pushed them really hard, but they can feel the benefit from it. So all this stuff about loading up their bodies, and there was no real surprise that we didn't look at our sharpest, but that's part of the process in terms of getting used to that feeling and trying to find a way to battle through it. And um, we did make a late push in the game, and ended up with the goalie pulled, and had a late chance to tie the game, and it didn't quite happen. But those are what exhibition games are for: is to put yourself in those spots and try and learn from it before the real stuff starts.
Well, and after a decade over there, you do realize that those exhibition games for players too, not just teams, like they do matter. Whoever that 6'6" goalie is that's playing for that team, when he comes over and plays like that, teams will take notice that the guy's a goalie.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think both teams that have played against them, and he's definitely one that will be down on people's list to look at and follow him to see how he progresses. But yeah, a very talented
Well,
talented
that's how it
kid.
would work in the second league in Germany. Like there were only so many ways to keep moving up. And I remember every time we get to play a DL team in exhibition, I would want to prove to that team that I was more than good enough. And when you play a team from a different country, you can maybe turn heads and then all of a sudden getting offers. Because it can just happen in a game when they see someone play and it's like, oh, who are you?
Yeah, exactly. And from that Concordia team, I think there's maybe 7 guys on our team that have played U Sports. So, we are a realistic game for the better players on that team. So they all had something to,
Proof.
to go out and prove. And, that's what we had is 4 lines of very, very hard-working guys, a lot of them talented too. And they were pretty relentless. There was no let up in their back check and their tracking. So when you think you have a little bit of space, that was taken away quickly. So it was a great, great test. Exactly what you want from exhibition, because they came to play hard, and they were rewarded with that win.
Well, and that is how you win games, is taking away space and like the back tracking, like the back checking, man. I think it's easier coaching than playing, because the
Yeah,
kids I coached, they never seen me play, so they don't know if that my back checking maybe struggled sometimes. But I can sure make them do it.
they don't know that you're the best back checker in the league, and that's what you're going to tell them. And
Right. And that's now
yeah,
this
and
is how
that's
you
why you're
win. You
asking
guys
them to do
have to
it.
do
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And you have
exactly.
to block all those shots too that might
Yeah,
hurt, even in the
yeah,
regular season.
yeah.
Well, do you have anything else before we shut her down and get back to work?
No, it's just exciting for the weekend because so far we've had 3 exhibition games. It's 2 games against Gap from France, one against Concordia. But this weekend we move into um, teams in our own league, and it starts with Sheffield away, then home, and the weekend after Nottingham and Guildford. So it'll be a good yardstick to see where we are at in terms of team against our league competition. And no better way to start it off than against those Sheffield Steelers.
Well, yeah, home and away with the Steelers will probably get the rivalry going for the new boys too.
Yeah, yeah. I think they'll understand it pretty quick, won't they?
It's a fun rivalry, you know. It's weird because I mean, well, I hated the Steelers more than anybody, and you know, then you're out of the game for a lot of years. And then you dive into this and you start realizing that there's good dudes on every team. And it really started at Matthew Meyer's Testimonials, where I started getting over my Steeler hatred, was getting
You
to
softened a
know.
bit, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Getting to know Dowdy and Jono and then going out with them for the night and then them coming on the pod. And yeah, it was pretty neat though. Through this, I had a raffle to raise money for Rich Bateman, who had a stroke there. And the whole family, he is now moved home a couple of years later, living at home with the family again. The work ethic that guy's got to get better is crazy.
Yeah.
But the whole family came all the way to Joey's Testimonial to meet me in person and gave me a nice gift. And it's pretty weird that Steelers were supporting me.
Yeah, but doesn't that just sum up hockey in its entirety, that you have your rivals, but there's no bigger thing than hockey. And at the end of the day, hockey people help hockey people no matter what background they're from. And I think that's a really good example of you helping them appreciating it and coming full circle to come and support you. So yeah, I think that really does sum up the hockey world.
Yeah, and the UK hockey culture, it is so much fun going back there. The engagement the fans have, how much they care about the Cardiff Devils. Seeing Joey's game and all those kids and fans with jerseys and 88 on the back and all the people wanting autographs, it is a special place to play hockey and to get to
Yeah,
go back 2 years later.
definitely is, definitely is. So now you have to be on to Bouncy, make it a hat trick.
This would be number 4.
Number 4, you already had the hat trick. Okay.
Yeah, and Richie did invite me to his, but I didn't have enough vacation days in the real world yet. I just got going, you know?
Real world problems
I
right there.
still feel bad about that one, and I won't miss his second one. What's he at, like 17 or 18 years now?
Yeah, maybe even more than that. Yeah,
So what
18
I'm
years.
thinking out loud, Todd, if you're listening to me, is we go with Bouncy this year. And then maybe, you know, since Franny's put in 32 years, we mix in a Franny testimonial the year after and then swing into Richie's second one, you know?
The double. Yeah.
And then it's probably Sam Duggan's time. So you just keep the ball rolling. But yeah, thanks for making the time for me. I didn't, that's what I remembered. I was going to ask you about. Didn't you come to Canada and not call me?
I did, yeah. I was in Toronto and then the Lakes area. Um, but there was a minor Kincardine link though,
Okay.
because we went over to visit a friend of mine.
By the
Laura
way,
and
if you
I
went
had
to
been
Toronto, that's disgusting compared to Kincardine. Ugh, I wouldn't even go there. Gross.
we were only there for 2 days, and the rest of the time was up at the lakes.
Okay.
And
Like
we
Muskoka area?
no Kawartha Lakes,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then across to Manitoulin Island.
Okay. Yeah. So you
But
were going the other direction from me.
yeah, which is why you didn't get the call. But
Fair enough.
the friend I went to visit, he actually got married at Muskoka Lakes in September, so that's where we went up there. But we were there just 3 days. But when we were traveling to Manitoulin, Jamie, my friend, he had to work, and we stopped off and visited Devil's legend Shannon Hope in Sudbury on the way to Manitoulin, and we were there ahead of him, and he came up to meet us, and he took the ferry, is the Tobermory ferry, up there. So we went with his wife to meet him off the ferry, and as he was coming off, he saw some people that and he got chatting to them. And I overheard the conversation, and he said, "Where are you living now?" And he was living in Kincardine. So I butted in. And I said, "Well, funny enough, small world. I know someone from Kincardine, and I was hoping it was going to be that moment when they were going to go, 'Oh my God, I can't believe you know Brent Walton,' but
Didn't
it
happen,
didn't
eh?
happen.
No.
No,
I stick to myself around here, you know?
yeah, they don't know you yet. I'm sure
Now,
they will.
pretty much all my buddies in this town are under the age of 15 right now. Those are the hockey teams I've been on, and
Yeah,
yeah, it's amazing how many like winning something, you're brothers for life. And when I see these kids around town that we won it all with, now two totally different teams. There's only three returning players. Man, it's fun seeing all of them around town, and I'm sure that's going to go on forever. You know?
it's a legacy. It is.
Mm.
Yeah.
And the Canucks are done now.
No
The,
way.
the boys Canucks, it's over. So we went back to
Oh,
back. It's all done. And now they're called the West Coast Whitecaps. And they are with like three other small towns around here.
yeah.
And it's not just Kincardine anymore. And it was pretty neat how we ended it the right way. Um,
That's
but
some
the
way to go
girls,
out.
yeah, the girls are still Kincardine Canucks, and I'm coaching them now. So it is still Go Canucks.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But what a way for the boys Canucks to go out though. Like
Yeah.
like the
Well,
Andrew Hotham of
oh,
retirements there.
it's
He
my
could,
trophies out there, but yeah, going out the right way is awesome, and it's totally different than how I did it. Playing another random game with your knee blown up, and then thinking you just get through one more game and it's going to settle down. It's going to settle down, and then it locks, and then your career's over, and then you become the power play helper coach and get naked and spray painted and do pregame speeches. It's just not the way you should go out.
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure anyone ever draws up that as their career plan, but hey,
No,
it was fun.
it was fun. Yeah. And fun is fun, and hockey's supposed to be fun, right?
Yeah, exactly. You brought the fun back.
Well, hopefully the Devils have fun this year. Winning's fun, but it also takes a few characters in the room to have fun, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
hopefully you guys
yeah,
have some real clowns in there that know how to have fun, because I know the guys that went back for that testimonial, every single one of them knew how to have fun.
yeah. They did, and that's what we're hoping that we brought some of that character back. And yeah, we'll see. It should be entertaining anyway.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to watching along and cheering you guys on, and hopefully you guys are winning another trophy again this year or two, you know?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, well, keep up the good work over there and say hi to everybody. And this has been
Will do.
another episode of Two L's and Hockey Tales with Fran Man and Wally.